Infidelity is a choice. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you were seduced or whatever the reason was, you chose to cheat. You did it. It's your responsibility to work through it, to be honest with your partner, and to decide together what is the next best step. I think sometimes when I'm working with couples, what helps them is if they understand the cheating, like why did they cheat? How did it happen? Some partners need a lot of details, others don't. Some of the cheaters need to understand what they did and what kind and what were they thinking, because many times after the fact, they're confused about what happens. There's 5 stages of infidelity that I'm going to discuss with you today. Actually, they're not really stages, they're types. One of the types, the first one we're going to talk about, is called opportunistic infidelity. What I want to say about this one is if your partner is an opportunist with infidelity, then basically there is never a safeguard going back with them. Because the opportunistic infidelity person, what they're looking for is an opportunity. An opportunity presents itself for them to cheat. And they have to have very, very high likelihood that they won't get caught. They do feel guilt after they're unfaithful, but that guilt will fade the longer the time goes on as they're more and more assured that they didn't get caught. This one is important for therapists. And the reason is because as therapists, we understand about 2/3 of the couples, even after infidelity, will make it work in their marriage. And their marriage can actually, work through this and resolve the pain, and they can make changes that needed to be made anyway. That's not to say the infidelity was good for the marriage. But what I'm saying is if you're going to try and work it out, then it's important that whatever you work out is better than what you had before. And I think you'll all agree with that. The opportunistic cheater is the one time that as a therapist, I make a point of that. And I remind the partner who was cheated on, there are absolutely no guarantees if you work it out with this person that they won't do this type again, because they're looking for the opportunity. The only way that you could assure this is if they quit their job, they were at home or they worked from home, and there was somebody following them around all the time. And nobody's going to put up with that. Nobody's going to want to be in a marriage with someone they can't trust any more than that. The second type is the obligatory infidelity. This is the type that the person cheats because they're afraid of displeasing another person, making maybe the potential lover angry so that they would say something, or that they don't look competent as a man or woman. They don't look, for men especially, this is one that where peer pressure really does lead some men to cheat, because guys are the performers. And if they feel like they'll be demasculated or made to look wimpy if they don't have sex, then they will follow through with it. That's not to say all men are persuaded by that, but it is one of the types, and I need to let you know that it is possible that it would be obligatory and they just felt like they had to, and that is a real thing. Or they felt like if they didn't, they would lose social status, and that was very important to them. Romantic infidelity. There are couples who are really good partners and they work together, they raise children together, and they really love each other. But yet one of the partners craves a romance. So they will basically cheat with someone to create that romantic illusion, that idea that they're lovers coming together full of passion, and where they were was so romantic, and they got to share coffee and bed, all these things that for whatever reason the cheater never brought to their marriage, they experience with someone else. This type very rarely, never leaves their partner for this new lover. In fact, most of them are very happily married. They're very in love. They would be distraught if their partner ever found out, ever left them. It is an acting out of a romantic idea or fantasy they do in their affairs. That's not to say they'll only have one, but more than likely this person, if they could get counseling, they would not repeat it. Secondly, it's the conflicted romantic type infidelity. What this is when one romantic partner is not enough. You need many. And so what ends up happening with this one, it creates all kinds of drama. And usually the partner who was cheated on finds out that their spouse was cheating on them with numerous people. Basically, the people who are cheating and cheating with this person don't know about each other either. So whoever this cheater is, they end up in a lot of turmoil. And usually it will destroy their marriage. But once again, they would not like that because they are in a stable marriage most of the time. They just have this outlet of wanting romance and they're awkward about it, so they can't bring it into their marriage or their relationship, which is one of the reasons that therapists like myself, we work a lot on romance with couples and how to set that, how to get that pattern going and keeping that. Even if both partners say, well, we don't really need that, the therapist is going to say, well, your relationship needs it, and that's why we're going to work on it. And the last of these is the commemorative infidelity, if you will. The commemorative infidelity is when you have a working relationship with your partner, but you have absolutely no love. It is not emotional. There is no emotional attachment. These couples live in different worlds. They stay married for the marriage name's sake. They feel like they do better professionally if they're married. And many times if they have kids, the partner will basically leave the kids with the other partner a lot, and they'll go off and have affairs. They feel like it's part of their reward for being a good partner. You'll hear this, especially a lot of men use their cheating as an excuse that, well, I was always a good husband. I provided well. Well, providing financially is not the same as providing with the generosity of your presence, with the generosity of your attention, with being emotionally available, physically available. Those things are much more valuable than what you bring in a monetary sense to the marriage. If you are someone who has been cheated on, or you have been the cheater, going forward, the first step is you have to get transparent. You have to make a boundary between the two of you, and you have to give the marriage a space so that you can pause and not impulsively react or throw each other out or do something that you may later regret. I think more and more couples, when they find out, they're trying to find that space where they can kind of let things settle, get an idea of what type of cheater their partner is, and then from that point, invest in therapy. Or if you need to end the marriage, get a mediator so that it can end without a lot of anger and hurt and just that sense of betrayal that is fueling your feelings about taking. It's just a terrible way to end a relationship, because it goes basically all of that feeling, all of that emotion is being put on your children, whether you know it or not, whether you try to protect your children or not. And that's a heavy load. It's a heavy load for adults. It's really heavy for kids. So don't do that for your kids. Give your relationship the chance, the space to kind of calm down and think about what is going to be in your best interests and the marriage's best interests going forward.